Hello, I'm Chanel, Vehicle Title Expert. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I thank you in advance for subscribing. So, on today, I will talk about repo affidavits, the process of having a repo affidavit, and how repo affidavits can impact your title work. So, let me start off by saying that just because a lien holder is present on a vehicle, it does not mean that the lien holder can simply repossess a vehicle just because they want to. Okay. Normally, there are two reasons why a lien holder will repossess a vehicle. The obvious reason, of course, is due to a lack of payment. Okay. But I've also shared that a lien holder can repossess your vehicle if that title is not transferred or submitted to the DMV in a timely manner, or if the lien holder was left off of a title, whether on purpose or due to negligence. Okay, they can repossess a vehicle if either of these two scenarios are present. But moving forward, when it comes to repossessions, the DMV has instituted a process that protects the consumer. So again, that lien holder cannot just simply repossess a vehicle because they want to. Okay, they have to have a legal reason, a valid reason for repossessing a vehicle. So the DMV has instituted a repo affidavit form and supporting documentation that the lien holder will need to comply with and complete in order to repossess the vehicle in question. Okay, so repo affidavits, they vary by state. Sometimes a repo affidavit alone with the title, of course, would be sufficient, but sometimes other documentation will be required as well. So when the repo affidavit is being completed, a few things that the DMV is looking for on that form is going to be the monies in question that the lien holder has lost or is seeking. Also the date in question that the repo affidavit was filed. Also, DMV will want evidence or an affirmation that the owner or owners on record were notified. Very important. I do have two examples of repo affidavits. This one here is the New York DMV repo affidavit, and all of the questions here on this form, if applicable, must be complied with by the lien holder in question. And this example here is a Texas repo affidavit, and this one must be notarized. And the same thing with this form, any applicable questions must be answered and complied with by the lien holder as well. Okay, so once the lien holder has complied with the repo affidavit form and any other supporting documentation, they are then in the clear to sell that vehicle in question. Okay, some DMVs will require that lien holder to retitle the vehicle in their name before selling it, but some do not. It just depends on the state. Okay, but if all goes well, that lien holder can sell the vehicle with the purpose of recovering their money. A lot of times, these lien holders, they will sell the vehicles through the auction or directly to a dealership. Okay, but moving forward to you, the buyer, how can the repo affidavit um, impact your title work? There are two things you want to keep in mind, okay, when it comes to having a repo affidavit with your title or a lack thereof. So when you have a title and there is an open lien on the front of your title. When I say open lien, meaning that lien holder was not signed off on, you want to keep two things in mind. Either number one, where is that letter of lien release? Okay, or number two, where is the repo affidavit? Okay, so you want to be mindful of those two things if you have a vehicle title and the lien is open, not satisfied. Okay, so in this case, if it's a repossession, I understand you guys may not be aware of that. That's why you have to, look at those two questions. Is it a lien release that's going to be involved, or a repo affidavit? Okay, if you're not sure, you will want to talk to that auction if you have an open title. But that auction should have that paperwork and the affidavit, if it's a repo affidavit issue, to go with that title packet. Very important. If that repo affidavit is not present, your transaction will be rejected at the DMV. Okay, why? Because DMV will have that title work and the lien is open. So DMV is going to want to know why is no repo affidavit present or a letter of lien release. So it can really impact your title work. A lot of times auctions sometimes are good at having that repo affidavit to go with the title packet, but sometimes things happen. From doing this every day, I do come across title packets where a repo affidavit should have been present, but the repo affidavit was not. Maybe it was omitted, maybe it fell out of the paperwork, but nevertheless, it was not present. Okay, so even though you are the buyer, you still got to be vigilant when it comes to your title packet. Don't assume that the title packet that you have is good and in the clear. Okay, so be mindful of repo affidavits if you have that open lien on the front of your title in the title packet. So if you have any questions pertaining to repo affidavits, or maybe you received a title packet and you have a lien on the front of that title that has not been satisfied and you don't see any documentation pertaining to that lien holder, feel free to drop me a line below or visit me at wisdomandauthority.com. Please check me out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please click share and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to hear from you soon.